Welcome to another edition of Just Ball. I'm here with PGC President and owner Mano Watsa. You being kind of in the same realm of business that we're in, you see a lot of youngsters in the game today.
Yeah.
So I'm sure you've worked with a lot of guys that have made it pretty far, professional, maybe even a few NBA players. What do you think, when you look back over about the last 10 to 15 years of basketball, for as long as you've been really involved in this, where do you think the state of basketball has moved to, and where do you think it's going?
Well, one of the places it's moved from the outdoor courts. It's moved from what I would call free play to structured play that's controlled by adults.
I would agree.
And I think that's detrimental to the game. You know, and there's been a lot written about the empty playgrounds of America.
Yeah.
And kids just playing in these environments in which everything is structured and controlled. So I think that's a loss for basketball players. I think they don't develop some of the creative components of the game that are developed when you're just out playing with friends.
Yeah.
And you're just competing and you're experimenting.
I can remember specifically when I was younger, just being out in the driveway on my own, trying different things and seeing if they worked or not. And some of those things would, stretch over to the basketball floor where I learned to use them against competition. Some of them didn't, but it's that creativity side of the game. And kind of one of my beliefs is I always talk about, you need to get the scientific part of basketball down, learn the fundamentals, learn the basics. And then once you get those down, that's when the creativity side starts to creep in a little bit. And you get that artistic side to where players can create their own style. Yeah. But it has to be built on a foundation.
Yeah. One of the other things I think in the game that has the potential to rob a lot of players of their joy of the game and their enjoyment in the game is the focus that's placed on extrinsic motivators, as opposed to intrinsic, something being done for its own sake, done out of the sheer love and joy that it creates. The desire that players have, and some of this is brought on by the NBA, some of this is brought on by ESPN highlights, the fame, the fortune, the lifestyle, all of the bling, all of those things. It can drive a player towards a certain outcome that they want, and they become outcome focused, or they become extrinsic reward focused. And it's great to have a vision.
We call that result focused.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Instead of process focused. Sure. And it's great to have a vision of where you want to go. And for many players, that's a scholarship. And I think it's great to have that dream. But there's the potential that result focused or result orientation can prevent a player from being process focused, and can prevent a player from being present and from enjoying the moment and making the most of the moment, because they're looking towards and it puts a lot of pressure on a player when how am I measuring up? Am I going to get this scholarship? And they've got anxiety and worry and tension and stress and disappointment and discouragement, and all of those things rob a player of their joy. And that's when players come to PGC courses, that's one of the things we often hear them say. I refound my center, or my love for the game, or my joy in the game. And I think that's unfortunately something that quite often gets lost in today's game.
Sure. Yeah, with the structure and everything, I think, and I've seen it, unfortunately, is a lot of parents who like to live through their children.
Living vicariously
and
through
they're
their
the ones
kids.
pushing them to get into this team or that team and, go play in this club, program or whatever, as opposed to just going out and getting some friends together and playing some one-on-one, playing some two-on-two, playing some three-on-three, playing some pickup. I think kids not getting that anymore. Yeah. They're not getting to where they need to be because you've just it's something that I've noticed. If we want to take the NBA as example, if you look back in the 80s and 90s, you had players that were just scattered all over the place as far as talent levels. You had your really good players. You had your your just below really good players, you had your medium players, you had all different levels. And it seems like anymore, you look at the NBA and you have your superstars and your role players. And it's like this divide between the two levels is growing so much that very few are getting up there, and there's a whole lot of people down here. And before we know it, what's going to happen if we ever get to there's one or two superstars and then the rest are just – it's almost like you're going to backtrack to the days before Bird and Magic when basketball was kind of revived and everybody got excited about it and wanted to watch it. And all of a sudden you're going back to – the time before them in the 70s when you couldn't even catch a game on TV. And if you did, it was recorded from like 2 days ago, So it's a little scary, but hopefully I think we're going to see in the next year to 10 years a big shift in getting away from the AAU and club sport driven structured environments to getting back to camps, clinics, that kind of stuff that are going to get kids more involved.
And there's a growing movement towards it being a player's game, not a coach's game.
Right.
And all of these things we've been talking about, there's a groundswell across the country of coaches who are in it for the right reasons and who want to impact their players, who want to see their players have a rewarding, fulfilling experience. Sure. And so I'm really optimistic. I'm hopeful that this groundswell will continue to grow. Yeah. And we're certainly attempting to do our best to lead the way, or to be a part of those who are helping to lead the way. As our mission is simple. Our mission is to be a light that shapes the basketball world. And so we do that through our summer sessions. We do that through our PGC Glacier coaching clinics. And if all of us do our part, I think together we can create a shift in the game.
Sure, absolutely. Well, that's it for part one here. We're going to put a link in the video somewhere up top here. If you want to click on the link, it'll take you to PGC's website, so you can check them out and maybe look for some clinics that are coming up in your area this summer, as well as a Pro Shot clinic. All right.